Howdy gamers, Old Gamer Guy here. Welcome to another first hour impressions video. Normally I would just jump straight into the campaign at this point.
Welcome to Imagine Earth Ltd.
But today I want to start off talking about some other parts of the menu: competition mode, endless mode, challenge mode, and the editor, because I think these things give the game a lot of replay value, and that's a big deal for me when I'm thinking about purchasing a game. We're going to start off in competition mode and take a look at a few of these options. This kind of reminds me of Stellaris, actually. We're dealing with companies, not with empires, and you cannot create your own company, but we do have a few to choose from, and we can choose our own company, and then we can choose some competitors. Some of the competing species are more cooperative than others, so I'm going to choose a generally cooperative species over here that will be somewhat friendly to me. Like I said, we have a lot of options to play with, but if I don't want to go into too much detail, I can just stay on this summary screen and make a few changes. Notice at the top there it says serious mode, and I'll get back to that here in a moment, but you can see I'm changing the theme of the planet, and we can change the planet's size and the amount of land mass and polar ice and natural catastrophes. We can set up victory points. But if I want to go into more detail, I can go into these other menus. This planet menu allows me to adjust the terrain height. And then notice when I adjust the polar ice, that makes a visual difference as well. And the amount of polar ice comes into play when global warming starts to happen. So you do have to keep global warming in mind in this game. Speaking of warming, we can choose the range of temperatures, and that will affect our available biomes down there at the bottom. So if we have a hot enough planet, we can have rainforests and savannas and deserts. And then if I want to, I can change the individual proportion of these biomes. So I can turn up the desert and turn down the rainforest if I want to. And then, of course, we have bogs and tundras and all of that to mess around with as well. We have the elements that are present on the planet, which include natives and ruins and rare resources. Then we have the possible events that can happen, including a number of catastrophes, but also things like supply capsules. Then we have starting conditions, and here we have victory point conditions. So some of these can be earned more than once, like 1 point for every 5,000 rare resource, that kind of thing. So it reminds me a little bit of Settlers of Catan. I'm not going to show you all of these victory point conditions, but here are a few of them. I can set the number of victory points that are required to actually win the game. And of course I can choose among our standard difficulty levels that change a few things. So that's competition mode. Meanwhile, in endless mode, we have all of those options except no time limit, no victory points. But notice at the top we still have serious mode available. So I could deactivate a few things if I want to play the game that way. Next up, we have the weekly challenge, where, you guessed it, every week there is a new challenge with different conditions. We have leaderboards to look at, and this is, of course, separated into seasons. And then lastly, in the replay department, the replay value department, we have the editor, where you can save your favorite conditions for a planet. And then you can use this saved planet in competition mode or endless mode. But never mind all that. Let's get back to the campaign.
Welcome to Imagine Earth Ltd. Your job as a space colony manager is building sustainable civilizations. Establish thriving and profitable colonies on a global scale.
Okay, so if you haven't guessed, this is a colony building game, a colony management game, obviously in a sci-fi setting. and I'm turning on the help dialogues so I get a tutorial. If you've played this type of game before, you know that the campaign is basically just one long tutorial that will prepare you for playing the competitive mode or the endless mode. So yeah, one long tutorial just basically walking you through all the various concepts of the game, including, of course, the basic controls here at the very beginning. If you've played a game like this before, this will feel pretty familiar. The unusual aspect of the game is, of course, the fact that you're rotating around the entire planet like this. It kind of reminds me of Super Stardust, but this is a very, very different type of game. We need to build things, not blow things up, and the very first thing we need to build is a city center. So you can see the outline of the border of our colony area, and depending on where I click within that border, I will bring up one of two radial menus, either the tool menu or the build menu. And if I click outside that border, then I will bring up a third radial menu, as you will see a little bit later. But the first thing they want us to do is to build a farm. If you've played this type of game before, you know that we will be collecting various resources. At the top of the screen, we'll be keeping track of our power, our food, consumer goods, and special resources like rare resources. And I guess that will change from planet to planet. And I guess some other resources might appear at the top of the screen eventually. But right here, we're choosing where to put a farm, and we can see the optimal areas to put this farm. And then we have also other areas where the farm could potentially be if we were to, say, clear those trees out of the way. But right now we're just going to build a farm right here, and we have a drone that flies out and automatically does it. We are in the normal game speed here, and I'll show you how to change the game speed a little bit later, but for a while we're just going to be in the default normal speed. And right here I am building a coal power plant. So it is sci-fi, but clearly we are still using coal, which is kind of disappointing. Actually, the game talks about that and how the patents are very costly. And so to start off these colonies, we have to use basic patents, including coal power plants. But there are no connections. We don't have to build power lines. We don't have to build roads. We don't have to build any kind of resource supply lines. But here they're telling us to build goods. So that means either a quarry or a wood factory. They're telling us to build one or the other, but I'm actually going to build both of them here, and I'm going to skip a little bit. I have to edit out a little bit of this footage. Here I am building the quarry, and so now I have the wood factory and the quarry, and I've got a power plant. And so now colonists are beginning to arrive from by using the orbital lift. They will arrive and they will also leave if they are unhappy. So you need to keep your colonists happy. That's part of the game here. Right now our main objective is simply to get more colonists. So they want us to build 2 city districts right next to the city center. So you can use the radial menu to do that. The city center has a level, and the districts also have their own level, and each can be leveled up independently. We automatically get to level up our city center right here, which will give us more housing for more colonists, who will then pay more taxes. So that brings in more money, which we can use to do other things. But never mind that, we now have access to the research panel, which we can get to with L1. Obviously, I'm just going through all of this very quickly. I'm not giving you all the details, just trying to give you an idea of what this game is all about. So we have an available research license, which I could use to purchase one of these research areas here. And then I can also choose to research, which will of course take some time to unlock things. Then here we have our tech licenses. I mentioned about the patents and the power plant and all that. So there are basic patents which have been researched, and we have to actually pay for those licenses to use them in our colony here. But yeah, here I am back in the research screen. I am choosing to use a license to unlock the optimization area. So now I can automatically activate optimization at the power plant. And I'm going to choose to research energy efficient construction. So this will take a little time to unlock that one. And speaking of time, if you hold the square button, you can bring up the time speed controls. So very slow to very fast. I'm going to leave it in the very fast speed for the rest of the video. Here I have built a warehouse and we are mining some gold. Here the company has donated to us a tech license, but in the meantime we have built a spaceport and a merchant is landing. So of course the merchant gives us the ability to buy and sell things. They kind of arrive and leave on their own schedule, but you can also pay to have them show up a little early if you want to. But here all they want us to do is to sell some of our gold, and of course that will help us to finance the development of our colony. I mentioned that the company gave us a tech license, so I'm going to go spend it right here. Our citizens like variety, so we have farms, but I'm going to unlock a cattle farm to give them access to a different type of food, because variety generally makes them just a little bit happier. The cattle farm generates less food than the regular farm though, so that's unfortunate. But never mind that, because here is the big boss, and he is sending us a supply capsule. That supply capsule is actually landing outside the borders of our colony. So here, like I mentioned earlier, if you click outside the border, you get a third radial menu. So if I click here, we get the option to claim land. So we need to claim this land, which costs some money, but once we have expanded the border, we can just grab what's in this supply capsule. And we have some useful things here. We can level up our city, we can instantaneously grow a new forest, and we can increase the mood of our citizens in a particular district. We can access those new items through the build menu and the suitcase icon. So we have 4 different items here. I'm going to use the city level kit to level up one of our districts here. This one is right next to the power plant, so I'm going to level up this district. And then I'm going to go back into the suitcase menu and use the Soma pill, which is a permanent mood booster. We have another city district over here near the coast, near a spaceport, which is, I assume, is kind of noisy. So I'm going to boost the mood of those people. But we have reached the point in the game where the company wants us to build a new city center. There is a special type of resource over here that they want us to gather. So we need to build a new city center, and we need to build another warehouse over here so that a drone will get to work, and we are going to be harvesting nitro pumpkins. And once those nitro pumpkins are harvested, we can use a workshop to make either fertilizer or explosives out of those. We need to have also some timber to be able to do that. So we need timber and nitro pumpkins. But never mind that for now, because once we have a second city center, we can hit the touchpad to take us into this screen, and then we can easily navigate back and forth between them. I think you can also tap R1 to switch quickly between them. But hitting the touchpad also gives you access to a few other screens, including this colony rating screen. But here, the workshop is now online. We can now craft explosives, and she's telling us we also need timber. You can hit up on the digital pad to access these menus, and you can reserve space in your workshop for certain things, or you can tell the game that you don't necessarily want to store certain things. So you need to manage your warehouse space. But here's the boss again. He is now actually landing on the planet, and he wants us to gather some titanium. That's what the explosive objective is all about, because he wants us to blow up some mountains to find some titanium. So we're going to navigate over here to the workshop and choose to make the explosive device. You can also have the crafting be automated, so I could just keep churning out explosive devices if I wanted to. But once it's ready, we can access it in the suitcase icon, choose which mountain to blow up, and there it is, the titanium. So we need another warehouse to collect that. Here is an actual catastrophe taking place, although this one did not really seem to do any damage, but I guess potentially these things could damage the buildings, which would then need to be repaired. But at this point, we have the required titanium. And so now all we really need to do is to grow our population. Hopefully this video is giving you a good idea of what this game is all about. It seems almost like it's too edited to me as I'm doing this voiceover here. Fossil fuel deposits can run out. That would put the power plant into kind of a minimum power generation mode. So you do have to keep building new power plants eventually. But never mind that. We are now finishing up our final stretch to hit our goal of 900,000 people in our colony. And that is officially the end of this first level. So we have unlocked another planet. And we're getting our celebration screen here. Mission success. Apparently this first level was like a job interview, and now I have been hired to be a colony manager, and we will move on to another planet. But yeah, hopefully this video has shown you what this game's all about. I like this game. It's a fairly cheap game. I think it's $20-25 at the most. I think it's on sale right now, so I think I got it for like 17 or 18 bucks. And of course, if you watch my channel, you know I like games like this, so I could not resist buying this one. There we have the next planet in the campaign. I'm not sure what's coming up next on the channel. This year has been kind of weird. There have been several games I thought I was going to buy, but then I didn't end up buying them. This was kind of a surprise game for me, but I do like it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm still playing a lot of No Man's Sky in VR, but I feel like I need to make some more VR videos of different games, so I'll probably do that pretty soon. But that will do it for this video. I hope you've found it enjoyable and interesting, but for now, as always, thanks for watching.